Hi everyone, welcome to Outgrow's Market of the Month. I'm your host, Dr. Saksham Sharda. I'm the creative director at outgrow.co. And for this month, we're going to interview Kyle Kuhns, who is the president and CEO at XX Artists and also has been recently recognized in the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Thanks for joining us, Kyle.
Thank you so much for having me and inviting me to partake.
So, we're going to start with a rapid fire round just to break the ice. Try to keep your answers to one word or one sentence only, okay?
Sounds great.
Okay, so the first question is how long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
Ooh, 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
I'm
Uh,
quick.
I'm glad you put your underwear on.
Yep.
The next question is how many hours of sleep can you survive on?
I need sleep 8 minimum.
Okay. Pick one, Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey?
Jack Dorsey.
Neil Patel or Gary Vaynerchuk?
Gary.
Okay. The first movie that comes to your mind when I say the word ambition.
Oh, gosh. Uh, Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay. The biggest mistake of your career.
Mm, not trusting myself earlier on.
Okay. Giving gifts or getting gifts.
I feel like I'm going to say getting. I love getting gifts. That's my love language.
Oh, wow. You're like the first person in ages
I'm going to
of
be
this episode
honest.
that's come and said that. Everyone just like doesn't like surprises. But okay. How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
One.
Okay. The most valuable skill you've learned in life.
Don't take things personally.
Oh, okay. Fill in the blank. An upcoming marketing trend is blank.
Brand adoption of audio formats.
Wow, that was long, but okay. The final question is your worst moment of 2020.
Oh, not being able to see my team.
Oh, okay. That was that was sad.
I
Okay, so
know.
that's the end of the rapid fire round. Let's go on to the bigger questions. You scored 10 by 10, by the way. uh,
Couple delays.
yeah. The first question is how well do you think the music industry has caught up with the revolution in digital marketing in the last 5 years?
Hmm. Music industry specifically.
Mhm.
I would say, on one hand, I think there's a subsection of the music industry and talent who are in many ways paving the way for industry trends. I would say that is the not the majority of the music industry. I would say typically the institutional music industry has been a little slower to adopt marketing trends, especially on digital. But again, I do think there's a small faction, especially with the emergence of short form platforms like TikTok, that there's a group of artists that are really leading trends and leading new platform adoption, and I think that's the group to pay attention to.
Hmm. Do you think it, I guess to an extent, it must like, the TikTok soundtracks, because not all soundtracks are available there. So I guess one of the ways to make your song popular would be to just put your soundtrack on TikTok. I don't know, have you
Oh,
seen
absolutely.
people do
And
that?
you know,
Yeah.
uh, even this week, I had a discussion with a good friend at one of the major labels who works in digital, and he let me know that there's entire teams dedicated to A&R against TikTok at this point, and so it's definitely a discovery tool, an A&R tool. But as well as a homegrown marketing tool that a lot of artists are leveraging in a way that's pushing the boundaries of what's to be done on those platforms.
Mhm. What is the next question is what is the one big change that you saw in work culture when you shifted to a marketing agency from artist management?
Oh, oh, that I mean, The good thing, this is just the honest truth, is one thing that remains similar is like client services. When you're in a services business, handling artist management, it's relationship based. You have to know the ins and outs of your client preferences, right? I don't think that brand marketing and artist marketing on digital is any different in terms of the key competencies that you have to have in terms of making your business work, especially in terms of clients. I think the biggest thing was, gosh, I think I would say a focus on. You're kind of stumping me here. Wow. I mean, because marketing was already such a big piece of artist management, and so a lot of it felt intuitive. The biggest thing is just the scalability of our services now. You know, there's there's a scalable model to what we do to an extent. There's nuance and personalization and customization within strategies that we build for clients on brand marketing, but I think that is far more severe in terms of artist management. You have individual personalities that you're marketing and
Mm.
creating brands and content for. And so I would say that the scalability is one thing that was a big change from the change in business model for us.
Okay, and now to push you further in this direction, what are some of the major challenges that you faced when it comes to brand management as opposed to when it came to artists?
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, brand management. There's a lot more stakeholders, and there's a lot of red tape depending on the type of brand that you are working with in terms of what are their public risk mitigation considerations that you have to take into account, where I think at the end of the day there was one meaningful voice that kind of trumped all in artist management, and that's artist. Um, you know brands, when you're working with a brand marketing team, that's a very convoluted process sometimes, and a lot of bureaucracy and things like that that we've had to adapt to for sure. That I would say was one of the bigger hurdles in our shift.
Mm. So, if I was to take you back, what made you want to start a marketing agency of your own in the first place?
Yeah, so I was actually, when XX Artists was still artist management company, I was given an opportunity to lead social marketing for the first slate of content for YouTube Red, which was their OTT effort at the time. My company was still in its infancy. I had never considered social as a profession, or digital as a profession. And so I said yes to the opportunity. I spent a year consulting on that project, from pre-production and development through to the go-to-market. And through that, I think that was kind of like the turning point in my realizing, one, that social was something that I had an innate interest in, and could prove to be a real career opportunity for me, and a profession that I could build a company around. And two, I think that's when I really started to understand that I wanted to work at the intersection of audience development and content marketing as it relates to endemic internet talent. So YouTube creators, that's the talent that we were working with most directly on all of the content. And I just fell in love with these creators that were building their own businesses on the platform. And this was one of the first major investments, from a content perspective and from a marketing resources perspective, that the platform themselves had put behind this cohort of a select amount of top creators. And so that was really the moment for me, that it took a year for me to work on that end to end, and kind of see what a large campaign like that looks like. And like I said, I just absolutely loved what I discovered was a potential career path, and path for our business to build against.
Interesting. What do you have to say about the rise and fall of Instagram influencers? Like, because from an outsider's perspective, I just hear how so many of these influencers are becoming businesses in themselves. And what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, to be honest, Instagram influencers, where that's like their primary audience, is not the type of online creator that I've historically worked most closely with. I've historically worked closest with YouTube creators who are creating longer form content. It's still short form in the big picture of things, but and I really think that there's something unique about that platform being YouTube, and how it was initially differentiated from Instagram, which was, essentially a lot more of a highlight reel that created stronger bonds with their audience, and allowed for more honesty in what they were creating and sharing with their audience. That I don't think Instagram afforded people as much, and so I do think that there was interest alignment in a lot of initial Instagram content, the rise of Instagram influencers. Um, but I don't necessarily think that there was as much, community built around those platforms and those talent. So yeah, I think that really when I look back at a lot of like why YouTube has sustained as a platform for minting creators with incredible communities globally. I do think that there's something in the video as the medium, imperfection as a normal on the platform, that has allowed for that model to sustain more significantly than other platforms.
And what is the one thing you especially hope for XX artists to achieve in the next 5 years?
Yeah. I think the biggest achievement for me in terms of the next 5 years would be continuing to scale, but maintaining culture and satisfaction amongst our employee base. I think that right now we're at like the 35, 40 employee threshold. I really think that one of the biggest challenges that lies ahead of us is taking this community that we've built of employees that feel very interconnected and supportive of one another and united behind one goal of creating content and community online. I think scaling that is more difficult than scaling our revenue. And I think that that's what will you know continue to allow us the opportunities to build incredible campaigns with new sets of clients across all of our verticals. Is a sense of true teamwork and people who enjoy their jobs and feel fulfilled and part of something larger than themselves. And so that's honestly, and I've already made this my goal for the year or two ahead, is just a focus on uh, people. That's going to be the biggest thing, and the biggest challenge is taking the magic of what's been created amongst two or three dozen people, which is something I can wrap my arms around. uh, you know, uh, Not literally, but figuratively, and then multiplying that and still feeling like we can have a handle on it, in a way that's true to who we are now as a company and employee base.
And you'd mentioned earlier that you really missed working with your team. What do you miss the most about that?
I honestly just miss they motivated and energized me about our work and our job and our clients more than anything else. And so, collaboration I think is one thing that's of course been difficult to replicate, where in place of physical brain jams like we had in the past. And so I honestly think that there's just a sense of like inspiration and connection and energizing that we used to get from our in-person interactions that, I could really use that. It's something we're all going through for certain.
Okay. And the final question is one mistake that marketing agencies constantly make with their clients, according to you?
Oh, yeah. I think I actually just recently spoke about this on social or LinkedIn or something like that. But
Hmm.
I think there comes a point where marketing companies get large enough that they have the right to say no to client asks, client briefs, that really anything. I think the biggest mistake you can make is ever feeling like you've reached a place where you have more value in the discussion uh, than the clients who afford our businesses the opportunity to build in partnership with them. And so I really think that straying from what I call a yes mindset in terms of client communications and how we deliver against our clients' needs. Um, I think straying from a yes mindset is one of the biggest pitfalls that you can have as a marketing services company, and something that I'm constantly reinforcing with my team is options exist across this industry, uh, and you know straying from being the team that figures it out, albeit difficult and not always fun, um, is something to take pride in.
Mhm. Could you, without naming anyone, could you, in the past, that you may have had any problematic client?
Oh, I mean, yeah, all the time. I mean, we work across a vast array of clients. So be it talent, brands, small brands to large corporations. So there's always going to be difficulties, and I think that how we face those as an agency and being on the services side is like one of the biggest frame of mind hurdles that we try to coach for our teams, is being able to navigate that with grace, and understand that difficulty in a client services business is part of the job, and so if you don't feel capable or empowered or you know um, willing to do that within your day to day, then marketing is on the agency side at least is a difficult place for you to find fulfillment for sure.
Okay, well, related to that, then a bonus last question. What would you be doing if you weren't doing this job right now with your agency?
I I really love, um, as you can tell from our conversation, like client services and customer service are like core values of mine, just in through lines throughout my career. So I think I would be in some sort of role where I am working for others, in terms of some sort of customer success at a large scale, or leading services in some other capacity. I really like you know personal connections with clients and the success of like good client services. So I don't know what it'd be, but it would be something related to that. And yeah, that's where I find fulfillment.
Oh, that was a nice answer. Okay, well, that was the end. Thanks everyone for joining us for this month's episode of Outgrow's Market of the Month. That was Kyle Kuhns, who is the president and CEO at XX Artists, and also has been recently recognized in the Forbes 30 under 30 list. Thanks for joining us, Kyle.
Thank you for having me, and love what you guys are doing at Outgrow. Can't wait to continue to watch.
Yeah, do check out their website for more details, and we'll see you once again next month with another Market of the Month. Thanks.